Good afternoon and happy Monday, everyone. Once again, Jamal here, and welcome to Find My Pharmacy. Today, I had a couple of comments last week where a couple of individuals looking over my shoulder noticed that I use a lot of shortcuts, Alt Tab being the primary one that stood out to them. But it just got me thinking that might be worth mentioning. And how does that actually help the pharmacy? Are shortcuts helpful? Are they a nuisance? Are they just in the way? Uh, could you have a computer system that only used shortcuts? You never touch the mouse. So I wonder if any of those things would work, but I figured it'd be a good question to pose. So just to go over my thoughts of it, I absolutely believe that shortcuts are useful, and having to I just worked at a pharmacy where we about 550, maybe 600 prescriptions a day, and if you happen to be working, you know, the whole day or just, the majority of the day, you very likely would be entering, you know, 400 or 500 prescriptions. You could say 600, but if an order's called in, you're not typing it. If it's a refill, you're not, it's fresh. But just as a marker, you could be doing that for a large part of your day as a technician, in community pharmacy especially. But if you have orders coming in, whether you're an institutional, hospital, or nuclear, you have to enter orders. So I think it is something worth addressing. The uh, speed of actually entering the orders, I do believe that it helps. Touching the mouse is wasted time. And, I haven't done, second for second research, but if I can keep my hands down, tab that, tab over, here, do I need that, shift tab, all that, then I'm more fluid. I feel more in a flow. I feel like I can more properly just track things that I'm putting onto the screen. If I'm still looking at it, if I'm focused on it, then I can, oh, I didn't put the refills in. Oh, thank goodness I saw that. One of the things you might forget if you're inputting prescriptions, but to kind of jump even closer to the main question is, which would be more important, the accuracy or the speed? Accuracy, I say. 100% for me, actually. There, in a pharmacy, is you're going to have time constraints, and speed becomes very important in every type of pharmacy. But doing it right the first time keeps you from having to do it twice. So getting it right, excuse me, at the very least could cut your time in half for getting something done. And it's not really, for me, to speak of my personal experience, I typically is, at least this is how I did with nuclear. I'm pretty sure I do this all the time. But I try to get accurate first. I start noticing where my eyes fall when I first look at a prescription or order, and I make kind of a list of checkpoints as I'm looking at it, so that I can reference back. Okay, yeah, did they ask for refills? Yes, they have one. Did they put refills? No, they left it blank. What type of medication is this? It can have refills. It's a maintenance medication. Let's see if they've been on it before. Check profile. Okay, it's a different dose. Maybe the doctor's changing the dose and doesn't want to give refills. So in just paying attention and having those markers, you start to ask the questions that could help you further down the line, so that if it gets to counting it, and the pharmacist says, oh, they normally get 5 refills, let me call the doctor, and say, well, it is a different dose for when you call. So just useful information. So it really helps me to keep track of things, and I've found that some pharmacists do appreciate the second look, or at least that I'm paying attention to it, so that they're not the only person looking at it right before it gets to the patient. Because you will see quite often where patients, oh, they always give me a bunch of refills. Yeah, it's a new dose, but yeah, he always gives me 12 refills. But, maybe it looked like a 12. Some of the handwriting on prescription can look atrocious, and certainly any field is up to question if it warrants it. But, maybe the doctor meant to give refills. Maybe the doctor decided against it because they expected them to have to change the dose again, so they only want them to check in after that month. So there are any number of reasons things could be missing, from either the doctor's side or what should be on the prescription. But you just have to pay attention. You know, you could be wrong. They could, that little squiggle that looked like a 0 with the line through it, that could be a 6. I've seen that quite a bit. So there's so many things that could affect how you input the order that you want to streamline as much of the process as you can, and I believe that shortcuts are a wonderful way of doing that. Some pharmacy computer systems allow you to have multiple instances of the system up. So if you're working on a prescription and someone walks up, always put them first. So you want to help someone immediately. So maybe for you to look them up for that refill, maybe you have to Alt-tab over to the second instance of the program and say, all right, new, log in again. Okay, how may I help you? So shortcuts are a great way of doing it. Like I said, pulling up the program multiple times can help you be a little more productive. Not all the newer systems do it, just because some systems require a lot of system resources, and if you're in a pharmacy chain, you want the lightest system so you have the cheapest computer and the easiest to perform maintenance on. So a lot of factors involved to see if that's even possible, but for me personally, I found it helpful to help me help the patient. So I've probably covered a couple of things I hadn't planned on, but most importantly, shortcuts are what you make them. I knew those shortcuts before I got into pharmacy, but I always learned the internal shortcuts. Was it Alt W or Control W to workflow or something? But they help me. They help me keep track of things. They help me be a little bit, get that little bit of an edge on others when I'm entering orders. And with every computer system being different, it may not even be an option for you, but it is something to consider. But all these buts. Certainly, it's just important to do the best you can. Focus on what the pharmacist recommends or what they look for, and just be an asset. Help as best you can. If you can enter them faster, great. Just, you don't want to have to do it twice, so still make sure it's accurate. And that could help your pharmacy. So hope that's a little bit helpful. May come back to it again, but primarily I just hope you find some use for it. So have a great day, and let me know if you have any questions. Bye.